All right, so up to now, we have just taken a look at accounting policies and accounting estimates. And let's shift our focus to prior period errors. Now, what of prior period errors? I'm just not speaking of current period errors. Current period errors are just easy. You just use correction of errors as we learned in elementary studies of accounting. So when speaking of prior period errors, let's say uh, it comes to our attention today that there was an error in the previous periods. Let's say someone, or let's say an accountant was receiving monies from actually customers, but instead of writing off the trade receivables and recognizing the cash amount, the accountant was just leaving trade receivables as they are, and he was just misappropriating such funds. He was using those monies maybe for betting. You know, there are a lot of people nowadays, they are given funds, they misappropriate funds of an organization and going to bet shops. So that's the prior period error. And right now you ask yourself, oh, our expectation was that, oh, so you collected 50 million from people, but you just left them as trade receivables. You have to pay us. Pay us that 50 million. Oh, the accountant is now bankrupt, has been bankrupt. He cannot pay you. So if he cannot pay you, you would have to know that, so putting that receivables in the previous periods was wrong. It was actually wrong. We just didn't know. You would have to write off that trade receivables and recognize bad debts. That bad debts is an expense. So that's prior period errors. You just try to correct something that happened previous years ago, not the current year. Don't worry, we'll just take a look at a very detailed example, a very fine one. So prior period errors here. We say prior period errors are omissions. Let's say it was an omission or misstatements. All these are prior period errors. Let's say you omitted something completely, or you wrote it at a wrong amount. So be it omissions or misstatements in the financial statements for one or more prior periods arising from a failure to use information. This thing happened, and actually you failed to use information that was available when the financial statements for those periods were authorized for issue. You see this. You failed to use something that was available at that time. That means that's why changes in accounting estimates are not prior period errors. That's why you account for them prospectively. You know, a change in accounting estimate arises as you get updated information about something. Not that you made an error you didn't know, not that the information was there, but you just didn't apply. No, the information was available. In accounting for prior period error, the information was actually available, but we just didn't use it. Or the information could reasonably be expected to have been taken into account in preparing these statements. That's why we say prior period. It was an error. You should have had that information and you should have implemented it, but you didn't. So we call this a prior period error. But when speaking of an accounting estimate, we say that it was right. Let's say 2 years ago, the useful life was really, for the information that we had at that time, was really 8 years. But for the new information that we have now, it's 10 years. So this is just a change in accounting estimate. So you have to read the question and understand what it truly entails. Now let's finish up with this. Such errors, such prior period errors could be maybe mathematical mistakes. Maybe you computed depreciation, but you made wrong calculations. That's obviously an error. Maybe it's mistakes in applying accounting policies. Maybe you applied accounting policy in a wrong way. Anything that is wrong is just a prior period error. Maybe oversights and maybe fraud. Fraud, a good example of fraud is what I've told you here. An accountant was paid, but instead of writing off the trade receivables and debiting cash, he just left them as they are, and he misappropriated the funds by going to betting shops. So here, current period errors. You see this? I told you we are just picking of prior period errors. Current period errors have got no issue. Current period errors will be adjusted in the income statement. So current period errors, that are discovered in the period should be corrected before the financial statements are authorized for issue. Usually in the income statement, most of times actually, but usually it could be income statement as well as financial position. For example, maybe trade receivables. Someone has paid you, you would have to deal with it in the trade receivables. Don't worry, we will see this well. So how to correct prior period errors, correction of prior period errors. Let's just take a look at how to correct prior period errors, and then we would have to go to examples. I hope in examples you will be much more active. We are just finishing soon. So prior period errors are dealt with by, how do we deal with prior period errors? You would have to go back to the notes and take a look at how I told you how to deal with what? With accounting policies, with accounting estimates, and now prior period errors. So first of all, we restate the opening balance of assets. You know, this is an error, so even assets find that they are wrong. So you restate opening balance of assets, liabilities, as well as equity as if the error had never occurred. This is just obvious. But in an exam, you have to state it, and then presenting the necessary adjustment to the opening balance of retained earnings in the statement of changes in equity. Now, as for this opening balance of retained earnings, we spoke about it even under changes in accounting policies. Another thing, restating comparative figures presented as if the error had never occurred. Just like in the prior period errors, just like in the accounting estimates, we also say that we have to restate these comparative figures here. Someone is saying that he is not hearing me well. I don't know what's wrong, but I think I would have to install audio drivers, new other audio drivers, so that the voice goes up. Rather than saying that they're not hearing me well, I would have to raise. I'll find audio drivers to raise the voice. So that's what we have to do. So completing the standard here, we say disclosing within the accounts a statement of financial position at the beginning of the earliest comparable period. This one is very, very important, you know. When told the beginning of the earliest comparable period, you know what I mean here. This is what I mean. Let me show you. Let's say you have prepared your financial statements and you have used, let's say it's for the year 2021. You have prepared for 2021, for 2020, maybe, and for 2019. And let's say your financial statements were ending 31st December, just like this. If this is the case and you are just making prior period adjustments, you would also have to prepare the statement for at the beginning of 2019. This is the earliest period presented. Earliest period presented, this one, 2019. You will also have to prepare financial statements at the beginning of 2019. At which point they would most likely be the same as at the end of 2018, if, let's say, things like revaluations have not taken place at the beginning of the period. So it would be like this, just the beginning of 2019. You would have to state that too. And lastly, in the effect, this means that the three statements of financial position will be presented within the set of financial statements, because normally we prepare just one comparative period, although you can prepare as many as you wish. And so if, let's say, you're preparing for the 2021, you would prepare for 2021 and 2020. Now, preparing the beginning of the period, you also have to go back to 2019. So you have 2021, 2020, as well as 2019, giving you three financial statements or financial position. So we say at the end of the current year, which is normal, at the end of the previous year for comparability, but also at the beginning of the previous year, just like this. So actually we are done with our standard, totally done with the standard. All we have to do, all we are left with are just questions. So we could just take a look at some questions here and we could proceed. Like maybe if I get time during the night, I could just try to find out time and we complete the questions. So let's just take a look here before going to deep examples of making calculations. Let's just take a look here. The question requires us to state whether each of the following is a change in accounting policy or a change in accounting estimate? You ask yourself, is this a change in accounting policy or is it a change in accounting estimate? As I told you, a change in accounting policy includes changes in measurement basis, changes in presentation, all right, changes in disclosure, things like that. I think I told you. Changes in recognition. Now right here, let's start with A. We are told that an entity has previously been charging interest and other costs incurred in connection with the construction of tangible non-current assets to the statement of profit or loss. Following revision of IAS 23 borrowing cost, it now capitalizes this interest. You see this? You were expensing the expenditure in the statement of profit or loss, but now you are capitalizing it. That means you are actually adding it to the cost of the asset. A total change from expense to an asset. This is a change in recognition. That means when you recognize something, you recognize it as an asset, not as an expense. So this constitutes a change in actually recognition. Actually, not just recognition. Recognition is just obvious, but also it will be a change in recognition as well as presentation, because you know something was being presented in the income statement as an expense, but now it is being presented in the statement of financial position. So it constitutes a change in recognition, but also a change in presentation. And so this is a change in accounting policy. So you have to be able to spot things like this first, right? All right, let's go to part B. Part B, we are told here, an entity has previously been depreciating equipment using the reducing balance method at 20%, at 30%. Was using the reducing balance method. It now uses straight line method. So it was changed from reducing balance to straight line, regardless of the number of periods, number of years. Changing the depreciation method, I told you, the depreciation method is usually changed when there is a pattern of use. The change in pattern of use, you find that initially the asset was being used heavily. So the initial years should have high depreciation and the later years low depreciation. But now you want to use straight line method because you now see that the pattern of use is the same over all years. So this is the change in accounting estimates. That's why we say here, the answer to all these questions, actually, you didn't need to say the answer to all these questions. I mean, to all these questions as whether there has been a change in recognition, there has been a change in presentation, there has been a change in disclosure, or maybe there has been a change in measurement basis. So there is no any change in such things. We say that this is a change in estimation technique. So to understand this simply, you could just ask yourself about whether, you know, if it's a prior period error, it's obvious. A prior period error identifies itself very easily that this is a prior period error. But you just check. If it's not a change in accounting policy, just take it as a change in accounting estimate. And now we go to C. C tells us that Jelua Limited has previously shown some overheads within cost of sales. So overheads were being taken to cost of sales, but now it shows them within distribution costs. So it is the same income statement. So about recognition is the same, because recognition checks whether you have moved from expense to asset or asset to expense, maybe liability to income or income to liability. But now cost of sales is an expense, but also distribution cost is also an expense. So they are still expensed, no problem. So this is not change in recognition, but also it is a change in the presentation because we have changed the line item used. We are using cost of sales, but now we are using distribution cost. So this would constitute a change in presentation, and a change in presentation means a change in accounting policy. I hope you got me here. Let's finish up. Let's just go to a last example, and then we will just come for further examples. An entity has previously measured inventory cost using FIFO. You know, this is actually measurement. So measurement was under FIFO. it now measures inventory using weighted average cost method. It now uses AVCO. So from FIFO to AVCO, you have changed the basis of inventory, of measuring inventory. This would actually be the change in measurement basis, and the change in measurement basis would constitute a change in accounting policy. So you are just learning how to identify whether it's a change in accounting policy, a change in prior period errors, or a change in accounting estimate. But further, you would find something like this, but also two numbers. You have to perform the number. You have to do with numbers so as to reach at the conclusion. So you have to be careful on this. All right, in the next sessions, actually, we'll just solve these examples to see the prior period error, to see this FIFO here, the change in accounting policy, but also to see here, the change in prior period errors. We have to do the question and see how we proceed. We'll do this question. Yeah, I solved it already. So this is what we'll do, right? So I hope you enjoyed the session. Now, as I told you, you could, for further examples, you could subscribe to my YouTube channel. Maybe if you need to learn further, you could just subscribe there to learn more.